Today's tech news moves fast, but understanding it shouldn't be hard. That's why Snarful Solutions Group brings you Connecting the Dots, where we break down what's happening in tech and why it matters to you. Now, let's dive in with your hosts.
Hello and welcome. It's Monday, April 28th, 2025.
Hello there.
We've got some pretty wild weather brewing in the upper Midwest today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, potential for strong tornadoes, large hail, damaging winds, so definitely stay safe if you're out that way.
Quite the contrast to Sacramento I see here. Sunny, 77 degrees.
Exactly. Wish I was there.
Yeah.
Quick look at the markets. The Dow Jones closed today at 4239.92.
Okay.
And the S&P 500 finished up at 5526.33.
Got it.
So today on the show, we're going to connect the dots on three pretty significant tech stories and really try to explore how they might actually, impact your daily life.
Sounds good. We're looking at innovation strategy, infrastructure, and consumer tech.
That's right. National choices, how vulnerable our systems are, and the gadgets we use every day.
It's quite a mix, from the big picture down to the pocket size.
Exactly. So first up, let's head over to India. There's a really interesting kind of lively debate happening about their approach to innovation, specifically what they're calling deep tech.
Yes, I saw some buzz about this. There was that investor, Manoj Arora.
Yeah, exactly. He made some, let's say, pointed comments on X.
Right, about the R&D spending. He highlighted that India is at, around 0.7% of GDP?
I'll pep a number.
Which, when you compare it to places like the U.S., Japan, Israel, they're way higher, like 4 to 6%.
Huge difference.
Yeah, it really puts things in perspective. His argument, I guess, is that without much bigger investment, India might struggle to lead in those really foundational technologies.
And he was pretty sarcastic about it, too. He mentioned a proposed increase, 10,000 crore rupees, and basically called the idea revolutionary because, it would only nudge the total spend up to 0.73%.
Ouch. So barely moving the needle in his view.
Pretty much. It really highlights the scale difference. But, is it just about throwing money at it? Or are there other factors?
Well, that's always the question, isn't it? Money helps, obviously, but you need the whole ecosystem. Research institutions, industry links, ways to actually turn research into products.
Right. And it ties into what the Commerce Minister, Piyush Goyal, has been saying, too.
The push beyond lifestyle apps.
Exactly. He's urging startups to focus on deeper innovation, AI, space, biotech, material science. The hard stuff.
Which makes sense. Deep tech, it's the stuff based on real scientific breakthroughs, right? Takes a lot of R&D. Less visible, maybe, than the latest social app, but potentially much more transformative long term.
Like the engine under the hood, not just the shiny paint job.
Good analogy. It powers the visible tech often.
Okay, but then there's another layer to this debate, which I found fascinating. Another investor, Dilip Kumar, he criticized Mumbai Tech Week. Why? Because they had Bollywood celebrities and influencers sharing the stage with tech leaders.
Oh, interesting. What was his point?
His argument was that real tech leadership comes from the builders, the PhDs, the engineers, the founders actually writing code and building systems, not necessarily the celebrities.
Okay, I can see that perspective. Kind of a substance versus hype argument. Is the worry that focusing on glitz distracts from the actual work needed?
I think that's the core of it. He contrasted it with, say, China's AI progress. He mentioned DeepSeek's R1 model.
Right, the one developed on a fairly modest budget that reportedly outperformed some big Western models.
That's the one. His point being that looks like research-driven progress. Meanwhile, India, while boosting funding for its national AI mission,
And buying more GPUs, yeah.
He worries it might be too focused on being event-driven rather than research-driven, potentially falling behind the US and China.
So it's a debate about strategy and priorities. How do you foster real innovation versus just the appearance of it?
Exactly. He even quoted others talking about needing real tech builders and concerns about the Bollywoodization of tech talks.
Bollywoodization, wow, that's a strong term.
It is. So for you listening, the takeaway here is really about understanding what goes into becoming a leader in cutting-edge tech like AI. It's about investment, yes, but also about focus, culture, and whether you prioritize fundamental research or maybe promotion and events.
It's definitely a crucial balancing act.
Yeah.
You need the substance, but you also need to build excitement and attract talent. Where that balance lies is, I suppose, the heart of the debate.
Makes sense. Okay, let's shift from national strategy to something maybe a bit more immediate and frankly disruptive. That massive power outage in Spain and Portugal.
Yes, that was quite something. Really highlights how dependent we are on the grid.
Totally. So it started just after midday, Central European summertime.
And it was widespread, wasn't it? Spain, Portugal, Andorra, even parts of France affected. Near total blackout in Spain and Portugal initially.
Yeah, the impact sounds huge. Madrid trains stopped running.
Airports couldn't operate. Businesses, schools closed.
Wow. It's amazing how quickly everything just stops. Though apparently cellular networks mostly held up. Backup power, I guess.
Yeah, thankfully. But imagine trying to navigate a city with no traffic lights, no trains, no open shops.
Nightmare. What caused it? Any clear idea yet?
Well, the Spanish grid operator, Red Electrica, initially mentioned something called grid oscillation.
Okay. What's that in simple terms?
Basically, fluctuations in the grid's frequency.
Yeah.
If they get too wild, safety systems can kick in and shut things down to prevent worse damage. Kind of like a circuit breaker on a massive scale.
Got it. But the EU cybersecurity agency, ENISA, they had a different initial take.
They suggested it was more likely a technical or cable issue based on their initial look. They seem to rule out a cyberattack, at least for now, but are keeping an eye on it.
So still a bit murky, but leaning towards a physical failure rather than hacking.
Seems that way. Both governments held emergency meetings, so they were taking it very seriously.
We actually heard from someone in Lisbon, Tiago Carvalho. He said banks, supermarkets were shut, some smaller shops were open, but only taking cash.
Cash only? Wow. And relying on 5G data, he said.
Yeah, pretty much the only thing working reliably for him. And get this, the Madrid Open tennis tournament. Suspended. Mid-match, presumably.
Huh. You don't think about tennis tournaments needing grid power, but of course they do. Scoreboards, lights, broadcast.
Everything. Reports also mention the Madrid underground being evacuated, people stuck in elevators, stalled metro cars.
Yeah, that sounds awful. And massive traffic jams because the lights were out. Flight delays, too.
It just shows the cascading effects, doesn't it? How one failure ripples through everything. Even France had a brief outage before power came back.
It's a real wake-up call about the fragility of these huge, interconnected systems we rely on absolutely every day, often without a second thought. Makes you think about resilience backup plans.
Definitely. On a personal level and, well, on a much bigger scale, too. Okay, final story. Let's shift gears completely to something maybe a bit more aspirational. The rumored iPhone 17 Air.
The Apple rumor mill. Always churning. So the Air moniker suggests thinness is the key feature here.
That seems to be the headline. Supposedly thinner than all previous iPhones, including the famously thin iPhone 6.
Wow, that is thin. How do they manage that without compromising, everything else?
Well, the reports mention re-engineered components, camera bump, side buttons to get that streamlined profile, and they're apparently still emphasizing durability.
Durability and extreme thinness.
That's a tricky balance, but I can see the appeal for people who want portability and that sleek look.
And a big rumored feature is the display. 120 hertz ProMotion.
On a non-Pro model, that would be new.
Yeah, first time. So you'd get that super smooth scrolling, sharper visuals, better touch response.
ProMotion does make a noticeable difference, yeah. Smoother experience overall. And it adapts the refresh rate to save battery, which is smart.
That's key. What about the cameras?
The rumors suggest a simplified system. A 24-megapixel front camera, which is a bump, and then just a single 48-megapixel rear camera.
Oh, interesting. Back to one main camera.
Yeah.
Potentially for design simplicity, maybe better battery efficiency. They'd likely rely heavily on computational photography to make that single lens really perform, especially in low light. Aiming for user-friendly but still powerful.
Makes sense. And under the hood, powering all this.
Expected to be the next-gen Apple chip, likely the A19, plus a jump to 12 gigabytes of RAM.
So, top-tier performance, loads of memory for multitasking, AI stuff, gaming.
Exactly. Industry-leading performance and energy efficiency are usually Apple's goals with their chips. And they're also talking next-gen connectivity, Wi-Fi 7.
Faster speeds, lower latency, better in crowded areas, right?
Yep. And potentially an Apple-designed modem, the C1, for better cellular performance and maybe power savings too.
Okay, so thin design, better display, simplified but maybe smarter camera, powerful chip, better connectivity. What about battery life? That's always the worry with thin phones.
They're apparently using a new high-density battery technology to try and maintain decent battery life despite the thinness. That, combined with the efficient chip and adaptive display, is how they'll likely aim for it.
And one more thing, the action button. Replacing the mute switch.
Yeah, it seems like they might bring that customizable button from the Pro models over to this Air model too. Lets you assign shortcuts, open the camera, etc.
And MagSafe is sticking around.
Apparently so. Still compatible with all those magnetic chargers and accessories, even with the slim design.
Okay, so quite a package if these rumors pan out. What's your main takeaway from this potential iPhone 17 Air?
It feels like Apple might be trying to blend premium features like promotion and the action button with that highly desirable ultra-thin design, potentially creating a new sweet spot in their lineup below the top-tier Pro models. It's an interesting potential strategy shift.
Yeah, it gives you a glimpse into where smartphones might be heading, that balance between sleek design, powerful features, and everyday usability. Makes you think what you really want in your next phone.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to quickly recap our 3 stories today. We dove into India's deep tech debate, the ambitions versus the investment realities.
Then the massive power outage in Spain and Portugal, really showing us the vulnerabilities in critical infrastructure.
And finally, a look ahead at the possible iPhone 17 Air and the ongoing evolution of our personal tech.
It leaves you thinking, doesn't it? As tech races forward, how do we make sure progress, especially in powerful areas like AI, is built on solid ground, on real research and investment?
Yeah, and how do we build infrastructure that's actually resilient enough for the digital world we've created?
Important questions. Definitely food for thought.
Absolutely. Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Remember, we are here to help here at Snarful, so reach out on our website if you have any more questions.
Thanks for listening.
That's a wrap on today's top stories. Remember, tech doesn't have to be complicated, and we're here to help connect the dots. If you've got questions or want to learn more, visit us at snarful.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.